and welcome to Midnight Musings. I'm your host, Bren.
And I'm Jay.
Brilliant. And what are we talking about today, Jay?
Well, we've got a bunch of news to go through today, and the first one being the Suicide Squad delay.
Oh, yes. This is kind of like a topic that we've kind of made our main topic, really, isn't it?
Yes.
Because it's quite dramatic. But before we dive in, let's hear that lovely, lovely jingle. Ah, yes, isn't it pretty lovely? So, yes, it's our main topic is the Suicide Squad delay. So, what happened here, Jay?
Well, it's been delayed again until February 2024.
Now, that is a long time, isn't it?
Yes, especially
now, of
when
course,
it was supposed to be out. It's supposed to be out relatively soonish, I think. Was it May? It was scheduled for. I mean, well, it was supposed to be out last year.
Yeah. It's kind of. Is this the second or third time it's been delayed?
I think it might be the third or fourth.
Oh, crikey. Okay, so the reason we think, or many people think, is because of the recent gameplay that they released. They thought everything was going well. They thought, yeah, we're Rocksteady. We made a wicked game. Everyone's going to like it. Then everyone watched this footage, and it's abysmal. And why did people think it was bad, Jay?
I think it was the whole looter shooter thing is kind of everyone's bored of it now, for one, but also the way that you kind of traverse the environment was a bit dodgy as well. It didn't really look very nice, and the fact that you've got all these unique heroes, but they all use the exact same equipment sets, and they all have the same guns and everything. There doesn't seem to be anything really unique about each of the different characters in it.
Yeah, so
you would expect.
Yeah, you kind of want to play it as Harley Quinn, right? So you'd expect like to have traits that are unique to Harley Quinn and animations unique to her and weapons that are unique to her and stuff. But instead, everyone's using even Boomerang. He's not using his boomerangs. He's using guns.
Yeah, he's using the same like selection of assault rifles and pistols that all the other characters get.
Now, that sounds bad, but then it goes a step further because obviously it's got like, a premium shop and all that kind of jazz,
Yes.
Well, they haven't said anything about a premium shop, but it's more about like the gameplay loop is there for obvious like looting and shooting and gaining gear and all the stats and all that kind of stuff that most people aren't very interested in, especially with something with this IP. And then
it just reeks of Avengers.
Yeah, which is what a lot of people have said. And then it goes a step further when they showed like how missions would play out, and I've got to admit, it just looks so stale. And the mission objectives were essentially like shoot purple blobs on the back of these enemies until they get destroyed, and it just felt really weak. Like the gameplay just. If you were to sum up what grindy gameplay looks like, Suicide Squad pretty much ticked every single box in that gameplay showcase.
Yeah, and it did. It felt like in that 10-minute gameplay showcase, I'd already seen the core gameplay loop, and that's what I was going to get over and over again.
Forever.
Yeah.
With some highly polished cutscenes in between.
Yes.
So essentially, it's Anthem 2.0.
Yeah, exactly. And there was also the requirement for it always being online.
Oh yes, that's
even if you were playing it single player, there was a always online requirement.
Yeah, that needs to just go away. That and that. What's that other thing? De novo, like anti-cheat stuff or whatever it is. I don't know what it is. Yeah, all that stuff just needs to be gone. And it. So that was the reason for the backlash, and it came thick and fast from from everywhere, to a point where the Rocksteady have turned around and released that press release, didn't they, just saying that we've made the hard decision to delay the game for what was it, 10 months or whatever, until 2024.
Yeah, but all they've said it's for extra polish. So it doesn't detail that they're gonna. I mean, they're gonna fix any of the complaints that came up in the showcase. And I think I can't remember who said it now. maybe Jason Schreier. He's always the one that's on Twitter, like
usually
with all the rumors and everything. But I think even if it wasn't him, someone's definitely said that the amount of delay they've put on it is not enough to change anything drastic.
I believe that was Jason Schreier that said that.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, you're right, because in the game development world, especially on a project as large as that one, I mean, that project is a beast. That is a really, really mega project. 10 months is not enough to do nothing. So this backlash happened, and they were like, well, okay, we need to do something about it. So I don't think they're going to change the core gameplay loop. And this is a topic of much debate about what they are going to do and what they aren't going to do. But all I'm going to say is they will probably, if they're not going to change anything drastic, there's definitely been some meetings, panicked meetings, with the topic of, well, what can we change in 10 months?
Yeah.
So what comes of that, I don't know.
I think at the moment, it's only a rumor again, but there is a rumor that the always online requirement will be removed.
Yeah, and also that is not that. I mean, that could be the one and only change, because it's, doing something just like that. It's not as easy as just turn off the online component.
Oh, no, it's not a switch or just one line of code they can just delete and go, oh yeah, everything else should just work.
Yeah, no, it does not work like that. And to be fair, 10 months to get that implemented and working sounds about reasonable. However, I don't think it's going to save the rest of the game. Now, I mean, I look at it, and to me, it looks a lot like Gotham Knights, but a bit faster.
Yeah.
There's not, it's like there's not much difference in it. Like there's, and even in Gotham Knights, they had a lot of stuff in there that kind of alluded to this much bigger live service game that it was going to be before, I don't know, someone panicked and went, maybe we should rein this in a bit.
Yeah, they saw the death of Avengers and thought, we should probably take this out of our game. Yeah,
and that changed, obviously, Gotham Knights. Could we say for the better? I'm not sure. I mean, I haven't played it. Like, have you played it?
Nope. No. I saw the reviews, and that was enough for me to say, I think I know what this game's all about. It's not for me.
Yeah. I mean, most gamers know these days. And you watch a couple of like gameplay videos. Even if you try a demo or try it like for a few minutes yourself, you're gonna know whether you want to spend 100 hours playing this. And just from what I saw from the short gameplay loop of Suicide Squad, it's just not something that I'd be interested in. And that saddens me, because I was really looking forward to it, because I thought, Gotham Knights is out and it looks crap, but don't worry, because good old boys Rocksteady are just around the corner with the Suicide Squad, and it's going to be amazing.
I know, and it is a shame. And these are IPs, and these are characters that you want to play games of. It was like the Avengers game. With the success of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the Avengers franchise, like that should have been a home run. It's like, how did they manage to mess it up so bad?
I know. It's like you've got all these incredible characters, and then they were just like, we'll just slap a load of grindy gameplay in it and make it shallow as fuck.
Yeah.
and oh no, it's not selling very well. Well, I wonder why, It's awful. I mean, to be honest, I had the same worry, because obviously looter shooter and online grindy gameplay is flavor of the year or whatever it was a couple of years ago. I was really worried that Hogwarts Legacy was going to be another flavor of the year grindy, rubbish game with not much substance to it, but that really shocked me. How much of a traditional single player open world game it was, and it felt really, really good in pretty much every aspect.
Yeah, and they work. Like, why can't publishers just get this through their head? Like, they don't need to think of something which they can monetize for the next 10 years. Make a great game, sell.
it comes down the line of this other kind of line of thinking that's perhaps a bit more cynical, but part of me believes that, it could all be on purpose as well, because, you see these things like, no press is bad press, right? And it's like, are they kind of intentionally making, these decisions so they keep the name in the media for longer, keep people talking, a hype train is still a hype train, and if the game drops and it's like completely different, can you imagine like what they showed, the gameplay that they showed was just like, not actually the game, and when they show it later in the year, it's going to be like significantly different and wow us and do a Sonic the Hedgehog 180.
I mean, yeah.
Because I think that was planned. There's no way. You can't tell me that anyone that looked at that CGI model, that first CGI model of the Sonic Hedgehog in the movie, and said, yeah, that's it. That's the one. Because it has to go through so many stages before it gets in front of an audience in a trailer, that I just can't believe anyone didn't just look at it and go, this looks kind of odd.
I would love to have seen all the conversations in the background of that.
Yeah, because, somewhere in a boardroom somewhere, somebody said, I fucking told you so. But I don't know. So part of me thinks like a lot of this stuff is kind of planned, or maybe just it's purposely kind of done this way so they can make a epic comeback or whatever. But at the same time, it seems very detrimental to their monetary gains if people just keep getting pissed off. But then on the flip side of that, a lot of us gamers will just buy stuff anyway, because, well, they will fix it, it's a shame, because they'll release it broken because they know we'll buy it because we want to play it.
Yeah.
And that whole philosophy, that sales philosophy, has it's plagued the industry in a massive way, and it's just getting worse. But I feel the more failures massive games like Suicide Squad and the Avengers, like all these huge franchises, the more failures those kinds of things have, the more people are going to wake up and think, we can't just keep throwing money at these things, because they've cottoned on. We've cottoned on to how bad they are.
Yeah, I mean, I would be interested to see if sales for pre-orders are as high as what they used to be.
What, in general, or for Suicide Squad?
Just in general, just to see if people's spending habits have changed, and if we are waiting now.
I'd be highly surprised if they haven't changed, because most people. I've heard the phrase, "I'll check it out on YouTube," before I'll pre-order that. So much more. Pre-order seems like a silly word these days. It's like, what's even the point of pre-ordering?
Yeah.
They're not going to run out.
well, no. And a lot of unfortunately, I don't think you get an accurate depiction of sales figures now, because a lot of like the big collector's editions or the big pre-order editions are bought up by scalpers and then resold in the aftermarket. Yeah.
So it's all inflated weirdness anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a bit of a shame that the Suicide Squad has faced this calamity, and to be honest, I don't know how they're going to turn it around, or if they even can, to a point where it's going to satiate the appetites of all the people that have found multiple faults with it.
So, I don't see any coming back from it. At least not when it releases in February. I think we'll still get a pretty shallow experience, and maybe they'll fix it later down the line. But isn't that just the same story? Perhaps.
But you know what? I would like to hear what everyone else thinks about this situation as well. And who knows, there may be some more information out soon that might answer all these questions, but I don't know, they might be tight-lipped about it. But if you want to leave us a comment about what you think, then head to the YouTube channel, or if you're already listening on YouTube, then it's youtube.com/Ministry of Gamers MOG. and you can leave us a comment and we'll read it out on next week's show. But so that's enough of the Suicide Squad. Let's hope they fix it, but let's move on now to the news. It's that part of the show, Jay, where we like to muse about something that's happened fairly recently. Yes, and what is in the news today, Jay?
Well, a bit of a quiet week. Well, I say quiet. I've managed to find quite a bit. But
you mean I wasted my epic news jingle on a quiet week?
I mean, yeah, it's been a relatively quiet week, but I've still managed to dig out quite a few things.
Nice. Hit me with it.
So aside from the Suicide Squad and all that kind of stuff, but keeping on the same track of games which have suffered many delays,
oh dear.
The Lord of the Rings Gollum is hitting the headlines this week.
Okay, in a good way?
Never a good way. For some weird DLC practices.
Okay.
So the game will feature Elvish voice acting. But...
Sorry, what's Elvish voice acting? Like, is in like a made-up Elvish language?
Yeah. So like the Elvish language, they're going to be characters that speak Elvish in the game, which you would expect from Middle Earth and the world of J.R. Tolkien. But if you want the full experience of having secondary characters and characters in the overworld speaking in Elvish as well, then you need to have the Precious Edition bundle DLC.
Oh my God. You're kidding me. Have we got to this point now where we're actually selling, that they're actually selling parts of the game that should just be there?
Yeah. So the...
Oh my, they're selling voice acting? What?
Yes. So what they've said is, people who only own the base game will still be able to hear elves speaking where necessary.
Oh my God. Jay, however, that's awful.
Yes. When Gollum is traversing Middle-earth, you can listen to dialogue between secondary characters, and these will only be offered as part of the DLC. And their justification for this, their official statement was...
There's no justification, but here we go.
Yeah. Was that the fact that they went the extra mile to hire voice actors to perform these conversations, which will add to the game's lore and immersion, which is why it costs more to access them.
What the
I mean, no.
What the
You're buying the game anyway. Everything that you created should be in that game.
Yeah, extra mile. Extra mile. Honestly, I'm baffled by this. I mean, you got games like The Witcher 3 that is just filled with voice acting everywhere. Oblivion, Elder Scrolls Oblivion, years ago. The script for Elder Scrolls Oblivion was like 4 phone books long. You know, it's just this massive, incredible sized document, and they're telling me that they can't have everyone speaking because it can't. Oh, rubbish, I say.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a kick. I mean, charging you to hear secondary characters speaking in Elvish, you need to spend a little bit more money. I don't know how much more it is.
I mean, it sounds like it's quite a significant amount, to be fair, if they're going to decide to, well, we've gone the extra mile to record these voices for you peasants who should pay out for it.
But it's just the way they said it will add to the game's lore and immersion, which is why it costs more. So it's like, so now you've got to pay to be immersed in the video game that you've got to pay more to be immersed in the video game that you've just bought.
It's ridiculous. It's like, I'm going to go see this movie in the cinema. Hello, sir. Which movie would you like to see? I'd like to see the new Indiana Jones movie, please. Great. Now, would that be the... Oh, shut up, Alexa. Would that be the standard viewing of Indiana Jones, or would that be the premium version of Indiana Jones? Oh, well, what's the difference? Well, the premium version has sound effects in it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like, I'm going to go see the new Star Wars film. Okay, would you like to see the version with all the CGI effects or the one without?
Without, because if you don't, then you won't have the most immersion experience. If you don't buy the premium,
you got to spend the extra $10 to not see the actors acting just in a green screen studio.
Oh my god, they can't be serious. Oh, nope. That's made me mad.
I thought it might.
That's made me mad.
But I mean, this is just adding to all the controversy that Gollum's had over because the other thing as well, the game doesn't look that great.
No, it doesn't.
And there's cause for concern for anyone planning to purchase it on the PC as well, because it doesn't sound like it's been very well optimized. Because they recently,
half the audio's missing apparently.
Well, I mean, there is that, but they recently released the PC requirements for it, and get this, it says that it needs at least 16 gigabytes of RAM and a GTX 1080 or RTX 2060 graphics card just to run it on medium at 1080p.
What?
That tells me it's not been optimized very well at all.
No, that's like Forspoken levels of ridiculousness.
Yes.
Because even that had a ridiculous spec, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
But it's like, well, it runs fine on the PlayStation. Like, how come it doesn't run fine on a PC? It just seems a bit weird. It's like, why do we need like insane specs on the PC to run it on medium settings when consoles just run it? Yep, there we go. It's fine.
It's the danger when something's just been optimized for a console and PC seems to be an afterthought. But if they're going to re-releasing them simultaneously, then there needs to be more work on the. I mean, okay, it's probably easy for me to sit here and say, oh yeah, localization, just get it sorted. I mean, yeah, it probably does take a lot of work, but if you're going to release it, make sure you're releasing the best possible experience on each console.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know like some studios have done things in the past where it's like the game's available in English with English voice acting. However, all the audio tracks for like tons of other languages exist, but you download them separately.
Yes.
But they're free.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, if you want the Japanese language edition, you just click, I want the Japanese language, and it'll download that for you. It's something, it's to stop the file sizes being so bloated with all the audio recordings. But yeah, I mean, to not include them and then to charge people for them, and then your game looks kind of jank anyway. It's a no from me, Jay. It's a no. I don't like Gollum anyway. Why would you make a game about Gollum? He's the most hated character in the whole franchise. Make it about Aragorn.
Yeah. I mean, do something. I mean, I don't know why they chose Gollum. Yeah, it seems
make it
really
about
weird.
Gandalf. Do anything, any character. The freaking cave troll would be more interesting than Gollum.
Well, anyway, I have to see what else they're planning, because apparently Gollum is just the first in a long line of Lord of the Rings games that are coming out over the next couple of years.
Well, I'll buy the second one, and maybe 3 years after its release, when all of it's available in a greatest hits edition or whatever. Anyway, moving on. That's annoyed me. Have you got some good news, or is it all bad?
We'll get to the good news in a minute.
Okay.
I just want to quickly touch on Redfall.
Okay. That's in the news again?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because so I think, did we speak about it last week about the dodgy gameplay trailer and all that kind of thing?
Yeah, we did speak about that. Yeah.
So some new news has come out recently. New news. Because the game releases in 2 weeks' time, I think.
Yes.
But it's going to be. They are only releasing it with the what do they call it now? The game mode which looks the best, the visual mode. So it's going to be locked at 30 frames per second.
Right. Yeah. So they're releasing the fidelity mode and no optional performance mode.
No, that's going to come at a later date apparently.
Okay. I mean, to be honest, like. I get a lot of flack for this when I say it online and stuff like that, but 30 frames per second does not bother me. I'd rather have a better looking graphics, and as long as the frame rate is, stable 30, that's okay.
Yeah. See, I've always said that frame rate doesn't really bother me. But since I've been playing a lot of games at 60 frames per second, it's like, I like the smoothness.
It is hard to go backwards, I will admit. However, with slower games, I'd say frame rate's not so much of an issue. Like, you know, if it, like for example, Resident Evil, like the first one, the first remake on the GameCube, for example, or the PS3.
Yeah.
You know, a game like that, it's slow paced. Like, you don't need a super high frame rate. You know, I'd say games that benefit from high frame rates are, you know, games like shooters and racing games, which of course Redfall is a shooter. So
it is. And the other argument is it doesn't really look that great either. So they can't understand why it's being capped at 30 to run at 4K on the Series X and 1440p on the Series S.
I mean, I could understand if the game looked like The Last of Us. Then I'd be like, all right, okay, it's obviously doing a lot of work in the background. Sure, cap it. But it doesn't. It looks like Left 4 Dead with some HD update.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't look that, like, jaw-dropping. It's not... I mean, again, I don't really know how they build these things these days. The technology's changed so much, but I don't know what's going to... You know, from my eyes, my untrained eyes, it doesn't look like there's a lot of heavy processing going on to create the image I'm looking at. So, I don't know. Yeah, it seems a bit of an odd decision. And to be honest, I feel that the developers have got this a little bit backwards. If they're going to favour one over the other, they should have favoured performance for all the people that are going to be playing this, expecting a high performance and expecting to be able to shoot really fast and, you know, and have that smooth, buttery smooth gameplay experience right from the get-go. And then release the high fidelity, it looks really nice patch later.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, because then that would please people like me that would want to see it in its best light, even if the frame rate is a little bit lower. But surely the most sensible option would be to think about that beforehand and have both options available day one and allow you to toggle between them. It's not like, you know, that hasn't been done before. They did it with Ratchet and Clank. You know, there's been multiple games that have had an optional, what do you want? High frame rate, low fidelity, or high fidelity, low frame rate, you know?
Yeah, most games that have come out recently have had that. I mean, even Resident Evil 4 had that option.
Yeah, so do that.
Yeah, but I guess they just don't want to delay it again. So it's coming out in 2 weeks. I mean, I suppose the only benefit is it will be out on Game Pass. So, you know, it's kind of like it's a low risk for anyone that wants to maybe try it. You know?
Well, I mean, if you can, because let's face it, everyone's going to try it and it's just going to crash the servers like it always does because that's what happens.
It still requires online only at the moment. Yeah, they still haven't removed that. So, yeah.
Years.
But, moving on to something a little bit better.
Okay, a little bit better.
I suppose we need to talk about the Super Mario movie.
Okay.
Because it has been doing very well.
Yes. I've seen it. We've seen it. We went and saw it.
Yeah. It's a great film. But it's it's the biggest ever global debut for an animated movie. So it beat Frozen 2.
Oof.
After its second weekend, it passed Detective Pikachu as the highest grossing video game movie.
Ooh.
So, yeah, it's racking up some good accolades.
And Jack Black, I'm sorry, but Jack Black loves playing Bowser.
Oh,
doesn't he? Like, I've seen him all over the social medias doing little songs, and every time he has an interview with anyone talking about how, you know, him playing Bowser, he just loves it, and I think it's great. Jack Black, Bowser, perfect.
Yeah, it's like him turning up to interviews wearing a Bowser onesie and everything. Yeah. It's just he's brilliant. But it's just like I'm remaining hopeful that, you know, with that and the Last of Us TV show, you know, hopefully we finally broken the video game curse.
Perhaps. I mean, yeah, maybe they've seen the light that, if we stay closer to the source material, the people that really like this stuff really like it. It's like, well, you know, we've been trying to say that for years.
Yeah. So, and I think the next one coming out is God of War.
They're doing a God of War movie.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be a TV show.
Oh, cool. Is that a live action one then?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nice. I wonder who they're going to get to play Kratos.
Who knows?
I mean, that's going to be a hard role to fill. But yeah, just going back to Mario for a second. What did you think of it? Because I know opinions have been very much divided online, and it's kind of, some people have really liked it, some people really didn't, but I thought it was great. What are your thoughts on the divide?
I mean, I really liked it. I didn't see anything wrong with it. I thought it was great. It looked and felt like Mario. I mean, if I had one criticism, it was the fact that the film was just too short and it didn't have enough time to properly explore each of the different things it did. So I don't want to go into too much detail because I don't know if everyone's seen it. I don't want spoilers. But yeah, I would have happily had it another hour long and gone into more of the different areas and seen more of the characters and everything.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they made that decision because, it's a children's movie.
It's a children's film at the end of the day, yeah.
Yeah, but I like the fact that the plot was simple enough and it was colourful enough and entertaining enough to keep children very much glued to their seats and glued to the screens. But it was also chock full of in-jokes and references for all the adults and all the nostalgia. It was just oozing with it. So whether I think it works on two fronts, because whether you've never seen or played a Mario game before in your life, you're going to have an absolutely incredible time. And if you've played every single Mario game in existence, you're going to get even more out of it. I thought it worked well across the board, really.
Yeah, a great film, and absolutely nothing wrong with Chris Pratt's performance.
No, I was genuinely surprised, and I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, Chris Pratt is playing another character," but he did a great job. He did. I'm sorry, he just, he nailed it.
Yeah, it wasn't distracting at all, and at one point, at no point for my entire viewing experience did I stop and think, "Oh yeah, Chris Pratt."
Yeah,
it was just like, no, I was fully immersed in the characters, and the way they did it was very clever, I thought.
Yeah, no, it was great. And if you haven't seen it yet, 100% go and see it. Just forget the naysayers, go and make up your own mind, and go and watch it and have a good time. Get some popcorn, go watch some Mario. So yeah, good movie.
Yeah, great film. I mean, you mentioned Hogwarts earlier, and they released some of their sales figures as well, and they sold 256% more than forecast.
Oh, whoa. So, I mean, when you're talking percentages, businesses like percentages, and even the smallest increase is a win. So to be 246?
256%.
256% over projections.
Yep.
Wow. Someone's getting a pat on the back.
Yeah. I mean, it sold over 12 million copies in its first 2 weeks.
What?
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And I think these figures were back from the start of March. They haven't released anything
since.
Wow. So, I mean, I can't imagine the game's it would have slowed down a little bit, but there's still people playing it and enjoying it. And it hasn't even had its full release yet, because
there's more on the way.
Next month it releases on the PS4 and the Xbox One, and July it releases on the Switch.
Oh my gosh.
So there's still a lot of people out there that probably haven't experienced it yet and waiting. So I mean, which is great, because again, does this link back to our publishers finally understanding now that they can release a great single player game and people will still buy it?
Well, you'd love to think so. I hope the message is sinking in, and I hope it's loud and clear. And if these sales figures are anything to, if those are the things that are going to prove it, then there's the proof. You can see it. There it is. Money in your pocket, because they did a good thing.
Yeah. So let's just hope that we get more of that. And I mean, we got Star Wars next week. So
Star Wars, that's going to be good. Hopefully.
Survivor. So
EA haven't done anything dodgy with it.
Well, after the success of the first one, I hope they've left them alone just to kind of make another masterpiece.
Yeah, just do what you do. You know what you're doing. Just make it good. Okay,
great. Make us lots of money. We obviously knew nothing when we said that people aren't buying single-player games anymore.
Yeah, they definitely made them eat those words, didn't they?
No, I think that was still brilliant.
Yeah, for sure.
We got the Final Fantasy 16 showcase this week, last week as well. So they showed off another 20 minutes of gameplay. I mean, I will admit, when Final Fantasy 16 was first announced, I was quite skeptical. But I'm super looking forward to it now. Well, what they're showing off, I mean, it's because it's moved to a more real-time action combat focus sort of game.
Yes.
And the way that they've kind of like it's been described is sort of like the newer Devil May Cry's. So
okay. So it's really different then.
Yeah.
Quite the removal, and it's a numbered sequel as well.
It is, yeah. So it's one of the, they're really making the move away from the traditional RPG roots it came from. But I mean, it looks incredible, and the Akon fights that are going to happen through it, which are like, I'm super gushing about Final Fantasy 16 right now. I cannot wait until June. It looks absolutely amazing, and they did announce as well that Kenshi Yonezu is composing the main theme for it, and he's a Japanese artist that I quite like as well. So
nice.
Yeah. They've really sold it to me.
Brilliant. And you are like a big Final Fantasy advocate and fan, aren't you? Like, so if it's got you gushing, then surely, what do you think? Are there other people out there that are kind of annoyed at the move away from the more traditional routes, or do you think this is a good move?
I think it's a good move. I haven't seen many people being annoyed about it. I think there's still a lot of love for the traditional turn-based ones, but I admit, like, I like the direction it's going in. Like with the Final Fantasy 15 wasn't the best, but I did like the combat system, and then how they refined it a little bit more in the Final Fantasy 7 remake. Right, so. Yeah, they're going in the right direction, and I'm super excited for this one. I think it's going to be really good.
Cool. And if we could say anything about it, I suppose that the combat systems in Final Fantasy have always been wildly different. Even in the turn-based, even in the turn-based ones, the combat systems were always evolved over, and they've always changed. And I think it's nice to see that they're still trying to innovate and do different things with them, rather than just sticking to the same formula of combat over and over again. So I can see the appeal, but also I can see the disdain, because I also fear change.
Change is always scary, but no, I do like it. So super looking forward to that.
Nice.
And
when's that out?
June 22nd.
June 22nd. Nice.
Yep. So very soon. Got a couple of months to wait, and it has gone gold. But I know that means nothing in the gaming industry anymore.
No,
it just means they've printed a disc.
Yes.
They're still finishing it. But no, super excited for that. And very quickly, I want to talk about something that I stumbled across earlier, which I thought was quite funny. We're talking about patents last time.
Yes.
And some of the weird ones which are going around at the moment. But
the hand-warming controller. Yeah.
Hand-warming controller and all that. Yeah. But EA have filed one recently for music that changes to reflect players' emotions.
Okay. How do they expect to record said emotions?
Well, it's gonna use like machine learning to kind of look at how a character is, how a player is playing the game, and looking at things like the speed they're playing, the damage they're doing, the number of kills.
All right, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, genuinely how they're playing the game to kind of gauge the emotion and then change the music to reflect that.
Sounds really good.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. And I think I remember Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance did something similar back in the day. They had that adaptive soundtrack that ramps up the longer a fight went on. But this is going to use AI to properly determine the emotions of a player and change the music.
Now that sounds cool. Now it would be really interesting, like, just to see the difference in the soundtrack when you've got like someone casually playing the game for the first time and then a speedrunner.
Yeah.
To see like how aggressive the soundtrack is and the differences. But that sounds like a wonderful idea. I think that's a good level of immersion and a good use of the tech, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think it'd be quite funny if you could get like different uses for it as well, because I just think maybe a super hard game like Dark Souls, imagine the soundtrack taking the mick out of you for keep dying or something, really annoy you.
Yeah, just plays a very small violin.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So there's some interesting patents and new things coming to gaming for immersion, so they could be pretty cool.
I think that's a much better use of modern technology than things like NFTs and things like that.
Oh, so, yeah, for sure. Yeah, which you don't really hear much about anymore. So hopefully,
thank God,
they've kind of died off.
We can hope.
Yeah, as long as Square Enix stays away from them. And then to finish off the news block, I've got a little rumor mill section. There's been there's been quite a few rumors going around this week.
Okay.
So the first one is that Konami and WayForward could be teaming up for a new Contra game.
Okay. I mean, we all know how well the last one did. But WayForward, I mean, they specialize in the Shanty games.
Yes.
And
they did work on Contra 4 for the DS.
They did. And maybe do we think it's going to be a Contra 4 remake to modern consoles?
I don't know. So this is
that could be one thing, though.
Yeah. So this is a rumor based on a former WayForward employee's LinkedIn profile.
Okay, that's a reach.
I love how these things come out. But apparently, this former employee was working on a historic shooter property from an existing franchise that incorporates 4 distinct playstyles: run and gun, top-down shooter, shoot 'em up, and railgun, which kind of describes Contra.
That's written on the back of the box of every Contra game, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So
that's a good bet. That's a good lead.
Yeah, and we might hear about it at the Summer Games Fest this year, because I think Konami have got a couple of games they were taking to E3. Now E3's cancelled. It's going to be, I think, the major event is going to be the Summer Games Fest. So we might hear more about it there.
Awesome. That's a good rumor. I like that one. More Contra is never a bad thing.
Yeah.
And WayForward is a really good developer. So
yeah. So hopefully they can help Konami drag some of their IPs out of
the cupboards. Yeah.
Yeah. We're already getting Silent Hill's coming back now. Contra could be good.
Hopefully.
We also have a rumor that Tango Gameworks are working on their next game.
Okay.
It's rumored to be a new IP and an RPG.
Well, that's a different.
It's a complete drastic change to everything they've done. Yeah, from the Evil Within to Ghostwire Tokyo to Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah.
As well. That was kind of out of left field, very bright coloured. Yeah, and it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So for them to be working on a new IP and potentially an RPG, I think could be really cool.
Yeah, I'd definitely give it a go. I like their work, so yeah, bring it on. Look forward to that.
Yeah, and then finally, the latest rumour is, this is one for you.
Okay.
Lawbreakers might be coming back.
No!
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so...
Will my special edition work?
I don't know. But I don't know what capacity or what's happening with it, but it was a tweet from Cliff Blazinski, and all the tweet said was, just got a text from my lawyer about Lawbreakers. Stay tuned.
Okay. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm genuinely excited because, I saw a lot of the gameplay of Lawbreakers before it tragically fell off a cliff. That wasn't a Cliffy B pun. And it looked really good. And it started its development cycle before Overwatch. And I think Lawbreakers, because there's a lot of disdain around Overwatch 2 now and how they've gone off the rails and kind of changed it so much, and it's just not the same. It hasn't captured the same magic as the first one. And with the first one gone, because you can't play it anymore, I think there's an arena for Lawbreakers to just slot in neatly and take the reins back as being the best hero shooter. I want him to succeed. I want Cliffy B to succeed. He deserves it. I think he should come back.
Yeah, because the game was great. It had some great ideas. It just didn't have the player base. The player base just literally disappeared.
Yeah, but it was awful. Big shame. But if he can get it back, then fantastic. However, I do want to know, Cliffy, if you're listening, you better make my special edition copy of the game work, because I bought it once. I'm not going to buy it again, man.
Yeah. And that is it. That's it for the news.
Well, that was a really good news block. I enjoyed that. Yeah. So I guess now it's time for that part in the show where we turn to you, dear listener. And yes, we read out your comments. So here it is. Listener comments. And who's our first commenter, Jay?
The first comment was Outdaft UK.
Outdaft.
He says more often get burned out by games 2/3 in and question if I still have, if I even like games when it happens.
Oh, yes. I suppose we've all had the feeling, you know, sometimes when you're playing a game and you just, you know, when the screen goes black in a loading screen and you just see the reflection of yourself in the TV. It's a Saturday morning. You haven't showered. You're probably still in your underwear, and you just question, like, am I enjoying what I'm doing right now? So yeah, I do feel that sometimes. Yeah. Like, it happens, but you know, just put it down, go for a walk, and come back, and you'll be like, yeah, I fancy playing that again. You know, it always comes back.
Yeah, that's enough of the outside. But on the flip side, he then finishes the sentence by saying, "But then games like the Final Fantasy VII remake come out, and I go on to play through it 3 times back to back."
Well, yeah, that happens too. I mean, to be fair, it's probably just a sign of the times, you know, like, I always said, like, oh, they don't make games like they used to, and I pine for the olden days, and Jay's probably sick of me hearing me talk about this all the time, but, you know, I always think, like, oh, maybe I am just talking, you know, maybe I am looking back with rose-tinted glasses, and it wasn't that great, but then you play something like Modern Warfare 2 on the Xbox 360 and you're like, no, damn it, this is incredible, this is so good, and it's still good, and it beats the pants of all of the new ones put together story wise. Maybe not the multiplayer aspects, but yeah, the story and the campaign, that whole experience was so much better back then, but now it's all crap, innit?
Well, yeah, it is. When you think about it, it is weird. Like, I can think back to loads of games which I'll play religiously, yearly, and over again, and they're all games that released years ago, like the original Resident Evil, Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah,
all games like from the 90s, which I will play every year without fail, every single over and over again. But then when I think about newer games that have released, do I go back to any of them often? Not really.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, you know, yeah, the older games like that you played and you fell in love with, like, yeah, I go back to them like years later and play them again. They made such a impact on my life. Like, you know, I don't think there'll ever be a time where I think, nah, I don't want to play Ocarina of Time anymore. Yeah. You know, that game's just too good not to play. So yeah, no, it's swings and roundabouts, isn't it? I suppose it just depends on finding something that you really get into, and there seems to be a lack of that around these days, or it seems to be much more shallow experiences that are. It's harder to find the really, really good ones. So
yeah, it's a bit of a shame.
Yes.
I mean, not to say that there's not great games. It's just none of them are leaving as much of an impact on me that makes me want to go back and play them again. It's a bit of a shame.
Yes, I agree.
He also says that a controller that heats and cools to me sounds like it would drain the battery really quick. I prefer analog sticks that work like the triggers. So if you're walking in water, they become stiffer, or you can adjust how stiff the right stick is for shooters, which is a really cool idea. Like what they've done with the adaptive triggers, like analog sticks, which
that would be cool.
That feeling of like, you're really struggling to walk through this. Yeah.
I think that is a good idea. However, I have a feeling, I mean, to be honest, I said the kind of same thing about the adaptive triggers, that more heavy-handed people like myself would have more breakages or there'd be problems with them. But so far, so good. I haven't broke a single one. So, I've still got my OG PS5 controller and it's working fine. But I think you get a lot more usage on the sticks, or there's a lot more fatigue points on a stick than there is on a lever trigger, you know? So I don't know. I mean, yeah, it probably can happen, but I don't know. Damage wise, it might be quite bad. Maybe they thought about that in the past already, and they thought, we can't really do that because of XYZ. But I'd love to see that happen. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool. And then the only other downside for that as well is the more of this like tech you put into the controllers, the more expensive they become, and they're already getting up there. Yeah,
they're already quite expensive, aren't they? What, £70 for a new one? Is it 70 or is it 60?
£65. So,
60, yeah, you're close to 70. To be fair.
Yeah, So yes, they're already getting there. And then finally, he says, "I personally view the rumored Sony handheld as simply a controller like the Wii U pad, And so I strongly hope the price isn't that of a handheld. Yeah, I think it is. It's more just like a second screen or an extra screen for your PlayStation that you can use it remotely without having to use the TV.
Yeah, it sounds like an additional kind of like just a useful thing. Like,
yeah, it's not a standalone thing at all.
Yeah, I think that would be useful. You know, imagine if you're in a family home, and you've got your PlayStation set up in the living room, for example, and you know someone wants to watch the TV and you want to carry on with your game. You know, flip over to the handheld and you can just carry right on. I think that's a great convenience item to have. So yeah,
it has to be priced right. So I agree.
Yes, yeah, good one.
Yeah, but thanks for your comment.
Yes, thank you very much.
Kenneth Roberts next.
Kenneth. He's becoming a weekly commenter.
Yeah. It says, great episode again, lads. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The bit of news... Sorry, choking on my words. I have an original Xbox where you could install games on it as well. And yes, I did feel a bit guilty doing that, and brought the game as well.
Yeah. This is going back to last time when I talked about how I used to have a pirated console, and I'd rent games from Blockbuster and install them on the hard drive, and it was very naughty. But yes, no, every game I did that with, I do own a physical copy of now.
Yeah. Now, yeah.
Yes. Now. It's like I committed the crime, but I gave it all back. I promise.
He also mentions Game Station. I remember getting a load of original Xbox games and PS1 and PS2 games for 50p when Game Station when they had a closing down sale.
Nice.
Game Station was a really good game shop. I don't think Game is as good as what Game Station was. Yeah, no, I agree. You always had, you mentioned it in your comment as well, you always had a more personal experience with Game Station. The staff there felt like they enjoyed gaming more and would talk to you more.
Yeah, see, like I'm wondering, like how much of that was the branding and the vibe that you got when you went in there. It's kind of like, you know, Game to me feels really corporate, whereas Game Station felt like gamers. You know, like the Game branding was always purple and light wood and grey, you know, when you go in the shop. But then like in Game Station it was dark, everything was black, and it looked like it was all covered in paint and graffiti and that kind of vibe. And I don't know, I can, as a young gamer, I connected with that a lot more than the squeaky clean appeal to the parents kind of shop of Game. But unfortunately, Game won the battle of the brandings, so never mind.
Yeah, well, they bought out Game Station, didn't they?
They did. Well, it was a buyout, and then it was kind of a decision of whether or not they would keep the one name
brand.
Yeah, and they were going to keep the brand, and then they reneged on that and just went, no, we're going to make it all Game, which is a shame, because I too preferred Game Station's branding.
Yeah, it was a much cooler shop to be in, and you know, and they always had that retro section, which you know, Game don't.
No.
So yeah, it was really cool to pick up really cheap games. He also says, someone in there sold the first Uncharted game to you as well.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And then he finishes with a question.
Okay.
So, because he mentions about playing Fallout 3 and didn't realize Liam Neeson was one of the voice actors in there.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So he says, so with Fallout 3 having a famous movie person in, what game did you play and enjoyed, and then later realized they had the voice of a famous person in the game?
There's been a few, actually, but I'd say the one that sticks out in my mind is I was like, oh, that's that guy? Was Turok on the 360 when they remade it. There's a character in there that's played by Ron Perlman.
Yeah.
So, who was also in Fallout 3. Well, he did the narration at the beginning. You know, he's the guy that says, war never changes. Yeah, he's that guy. But yeah, so yeah, Ron Perlman. There you go. I connected it back to Fallout 3 for you as well.
Oh, yeah, well, nice.
How about you, Jay?
I think for me, was it John Cleese in Fable 3?
Was he in Fable 3?
Am I remembering this wrong?
I know John Cleese was in Fallout.
Yeah, it was Fable 3. He played the butler.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Just making sure that my memory just wasn't scrambled there. But yeah, I remember like I can't remember what linked it for me, but then it was definitely after I'd finished playing, and then when I went through it again, I was like, oh my god, yeah, how did I not realize that?
Yeah, that guy sounds just like John. And then the penny dropped.
Yeah, and then the other one that caught me completely off guard was the Spyro the Dragon, Legend of Spyro trilogy.
Oh yeah,
that was Elijah Wood.
Yeah, what? So mad. Yeah, so there you go. There's a few celebrities that have. I mean, there's always really cool celebrities in games and stuff, isn't there, these days?
Oh, but, yeah. Like Mark Hamill was the Joker.
Yeah. Oh, he does a good job.
Yeah.
And Kevin Conroy as well. God rest his soul.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But, yeah. Oh, yeah. Linking it all the way back to Suicide Squad. I really hope they do his last performance justice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
People are very precious about that. And it's really sad that he passed away and he won't be able to see the fruits of his labor. But, yeah, I hope it'll be a good homage to a very good and beloved voice actor.
Yeah. So if nothing else, let's hope Suicide Squad doesn't mess up Batman.
Yeah.
But thank you for your comment.
Yes, thank you.
And lastly, we have Christian Denning.
Christian, how's it going?
He says, great chat again, lads. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Game length is such a subjective matter to me.
Okay.
I do go along with you when you say that sometimes a short game can actually last you longer in the long term. Like if you want a quick zombie fix, you'll put on Resi 3 Remake, which you can smash through in under 2 hours.
Yeah.
I often think a game is like a magic trick. If the gameplay is solid, a character and story is good, then you'll be distracted enough not to notice you're just pressing buttons, which, yeah, true. Yep. The issue with a long campaign is that you get used to the loop or the story feels, and then you see the game for what it is. Moving from point A to point B, pretending to be a Viking.
Yeah.
We're not at all talking about Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
No, I didn't pick up on that whatsoever, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a spot on point, and it's pretty much, mirrors what we kind of said last time. It was like, yeah, a game, as long as it's great and got a compelling story and everything, you don't mind spending hundreds of hours in, but...
Yeah. But then you get something like The Division that, like, completely, decides to not even try and perform a magic trick, and instead just shows you all the rabbits in the hat. Like, yeah, you're going to go to that checkpoint, you're going to kill those 3 guys, you're going to pick up the Storm Grey hoodie, and you're going to enjoy it. That's what you're going to do.
Do it again.
You're going to do it again. And
this
again.
time for a military grey hoodie.
Oh, yeah. And you better guess what's next. Yeah, it's a grey scarf to go with your grey hat. Your grey hat. Your grey hat.
But this one's ocean grey.
Ooh. Yeah. It's, some games just put all their cards on the table, don't they? It's like, yeah, you're just going to shoot at these sponges all day. That's what you're going to do. You like sponges, don't you, gamer? Press some buttons, shoot some sponges, get a bit of loot, get a hat, make you think there's something better on the way, and that's it. Game over.
Yep. So basically, don't pad it for length's sake.
Yes, padding is bad. Yeah,
as long as it's got rich with content, we don't mind spending hundreds of hours on it.
Yes, absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. But
nice.
That's it. Thanks for the comment.
Lovely. And is that the end of listener comments?
It is.
Brilliant. Well, if you would like to leave your comment on anything that we've said this week, then please do. Just go to youtube.com/Ministry of Gamers MOG, and you can leave a comment there. And we'll answer it in the very next episode, because we're good like that, aren't we?
We are,
yes. So that about wraps it up. We said we'd make this shorter, didn't we? But we've just coming up to an hour, so we're going to cut this one off. And if you guys like the longer lengths, then we'll keep doing the longer lengths. But if you think, hey guys, my bus ride's only 10 minutes, or
stop talking, please.
Stop talking. Break these down a bit more. Then we'll do that. But just let us know. And we'll sort it out. It's an evolving progress. The podcast is, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
It's a thing that it goes over time. But yes, thank you very much for joining us today, and on whatever platform that you are listening on. We hope you have a fantastic time, and we'll speak to you very soon in the next episode. As always, I've been Bren.
And I've been Jay.
And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.